To you, you do not sell your Bitcoin.
I hate the word unprecedented, which are kind of unprecedented. And you got to put this in the back of your mind when you've seen things that have never happened before, then you have to question your ability to predict, okay? One is huge growth in this country driven by fiscal and monetary stimulation. That isn't a normal recovery, okay? And that fiscal stimulation is still in the pocketbooks of consumers. They're spending it at very strong levels. And the data is completely distorted. It's distorted by inflation. It's distorted by, they went from goods back to services. It's distorted by all these things, but jobs are plentiful, wages are going up, consumers are spending, the lower income folks, not quite as much as before, but everybody else, it looks like they have $2 trillion more, savings rate drop. I don't think that's gonna stop their spending in 6 or 9 months. And so that to me is the bright clouds out there. But it's different. The Fed has to meet this now with raising rates and QT. And the new part of this isn't the raising rates, it's the QT. The QT we've never had QE before like this. Therefore, we've never had QT like this. So you're looking at something they're gonna be writing history books on for 50 years. What was QE, what worked, what didn't work? I think a lot of parts of QE backfired. I think the negative rates was probably a huge mistake for a whole bunch of different reasons I won't bore you with now. But they got to raise rates, and in my view, they have to do QT. They do not have a choice because there's so much liquidity in the system. They have to remove some of the liquidity to stop the speculation, to reduce home prices, stuff like that. And you've never been through QT. So all the major buyers, if you go back to 2010 and say, who are all the major buyers of treasuries? All that time, it was central banks, foreign exchange managers, banks who were topping up their liquidity profiles because we had to for regulations. All three, it won't happen the go round. Banks are topped up, foreign exchange managers are topped up, the central bank will be selling, not buying, and governments have much more fiscal deficit to finance. That's a huge change in the flow of funds around the world. I don't know what the effect of that is. I'm prepared for, I tell you, a minimum huge volatility. And the third thing is Ukraine. That you've not had a European land war since 1945, okay? And the complexity of Ukraine is we don't know the outcome. I always make a list, if you predict the outcome, well, you couldn't predict the outcome of Vietnam, Korea, Afghanistan, Iraq, 10 other conflagrations. All wrong. Wars go bad. They go south, they have unintended consequences, and this happens to be rolling the commodity markets of the world. Wheat, oil, gas, and stuff like that, which in my view will continue. We're not taking the proper actions to protect Europe from what's going to happen in oil in the short run, and we're not taking the proper actions to protect you all what's going to happen to oil in the next 5 years, which means it almost has to go up the price. We're not investing enough money, to keep oil a number. And for all those who love climate change, if oil prices go to 175 or 150, which I kind of think is in the cards to tell you the truth, not in the immediate run, but down the road, then CO2 won't go up, down, which is everyone predicts because people buy less oil and gas. It's going to go up because all those other countries out there, the poor countries who need oil and gas to feed and heat their citizens, will not buy oil and gas, they'll buy coal. That's what's going to happen. CO2 will go up, it won't come down. And we're not dealing with these challenges. So those three things, fiscally induced growth, QT, Ukraine war. So I'm going to change the storm clouds out there because I'm an optimist. I said there's storm clouds, they're big storm clouds. It's a hurricane. Right now it's kind of sunny, things are doing fine. Everyone thinks the Fed can handle this. That hurricane is right out there down the road coming our way. We just don't know if it's a minor one or Superstorm Sandy Sandy or Andrew or something like that. And you better brace yourself. So JP Morgan's bracing ourselves, and we're going to be very conservative in our balance sheet on, with all this capital uncertainty. We're going to have to take actions, and I kind of want to shed non-operating deposits again, which we can do in size, to protect ourselves, so we can serve clients in bad times. And so that's the environment we're dealing with. And I think it's okay to hope that'll end up okay. I hope it. That's my Goldilocks. I hope. Who the hell knows?
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And guys, I come back with that video just to make you think. And we have Bitcoin and cryptos tanking. We have Michael Saylor losing hundreds of millions of dollars, and no one's talking about Elon Musk. Hundreds of millions of dollars he's losing also. But we know Bitcoin and crypto is for the fourth industrial revolution. They have to destroy this legacy market in order to bring up the new digital economy. But these cryptos are for the robots, algorithms, and drones. Crypto means hidden message, hidden meaning. These cryptos are not for you. The NWO is going to hand you those programmable stable coins so they can tell you what, where, and when and how to buy. And we have Jamie Dimon, and we know all about the billionaires. They give you half the truth. And like he stated, we've never been in this situation before. They printed 20% of all money in existence in 1 year. That's what caused all this inflation. But they did it so therefore they can move us over to the fourth industrial revolution. But BlackRock has Aladdin. So they've ran a quadrillion scenarios on how they can land us in the fourth industrial revolution. So yes, there's going to be a storm. There's going to be a hurricane or tornado, but they created it. And remember, the crypto teacher told you because he knows. The banks are the biggest what? I'm going to let you finish that. The NWO is going to bring America to Babylon to his knees. And China, the dragon, along with that digital yuan, is going to rise back by that digital SDR. And remember, the crypto teacher told you because he knows. When it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
You've made a significant bet on Bitcoin. So if all of this maturity occurs and if you see all of this flush cash getting wiped out of the system, this, in a sense, leveraged money, could that then be that you see Bitcoin coming down considerably and just not ever reaching any kind of particular lofty height, and then you stand to lose quite significantly?
We don't see it that way. We actually see it the opposite, which is the big question forever has been, is this real? And if it's real, is it going to be banned? The deniers said this wasn't real. And of course, they're being discredited as the administration and Congress and regulators embrace Bitcoin. And the skeptics have always said, well, it's real. It's better than gold, but it's so good. It's too good to be true. And the government's going to ban it. So if the deniers are wrong and if the skeptics are wrong, and it's pretty obvious they're both wrong at this point, it's not going to zero. And if it's not going to zero, it's going to 1 million because it's obviously better than gold at everything that gold wants to be. And if it was just worth what gold's worth, it'd be 500,000 a coin. So I really think we've crossed the chasm there with the bill that was put on the Capitol floor today by 2 senators, a Democrat and a Republican. And with Janet Yellen's speech at American University April 7th, where she recited the legend of Satoshi Nakamoto and explained why digital assets are critical to the future of the United States. I think now that that's happened, people are realizing that this is a real thing that's going to be with us. And Bitcoin is, like it or not, it's unique. There really is no network in the world that has its level of adoption or its level of security. And if I put $500 billion on the table and gave it to you and said, create another one, you couldn't create another Bitcoin for $500 billion right now. So I'm very bullish about where we're headed from here.
Uber, Bitcoin, self-driving cars. Combine those 3 together and you have the self-owning taxi. A car that is a corporation that owns itself, pays for the car lease, the car insurance, and the gasoline from the revenues it makes, giving passengers a ride, and there's not a single human involved in that matter.
We're going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
This effort. And China has big plans for this. They intend to seed their digital yuan into the global environment by giving it away to visitors at next winter's Olympics. When they arrive at the airport, they're going to get yuan digital wallets. They're going to receive digital yuan. They're going to use it throughout their visits to Beijing, and then they're going to take it back to their home countries. They see this as a huge advantage. Why? Because who controls the underlying protocols, who controls the underlying standards of the future of money will control the future of money.
Most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York. From COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.